What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for day 6 of this $1,000 challenge. The group, as always, TechBot Solutions is very active within group chat. If you guys are on the TechBot Solutions platform, I do want to make sure that you guys are aware that if you don't already have access to our group chats, it is available on our top pinned post. You just click on the link, ask to join, or click to join the GroupMe group chat for TechBot Solutions, and then it gives you access to, in a sense, network with over 12,500 individuals with all the different series of group chats we have available. So, huge shout out to all the members that were able to lock in a good amount of profit with today's trading. JNUG ended up taking a huge dip, and this is just for example for all those that held over the weekend and stuff like that with JNUG and expecting or hoping for the best. I do want to make sure that if we take anything from this video and the videos that we've made previous to this, it's pretty much hoping and not planning, right? When you hope for the best, you're pretty much just leaving it down to luck. And if it's anything that comes to luck when it comes to trading penny stocks or trading stocks altogether in today's market, you're not going to be very successful in the long run, right? So we want to make sure that we encourage planning, and that's essentially why today I'm going to share within TechBot Solutions that criteria worksheet. And pretty much it's going to be a worksheet that has, like, in a sense, a needs list for you guys as traders to make sure that every stock that you guys are choosing to invest in meets the criteria as you an investor before jumping into it. Meaning that there's a series of stocks that are available to trade, but you only trade the ones that meet your criteria that are in a sense at their prime to trade, to buy in, and then to sell for a profit. And with that, I think we can filter out a lot of just bad stock. In a sense, also promote growth within our group. I am trading right now still. I just sold some of my JNUG for the second time of the day. I bought in at the bounce at 123 the second time. But the first time I bought in at not 123. I bought in at 523. The first time I ended up buying at $5.22 and a half cents, and then ended up selling at 535 or 534.99, whatever it is that you want to look at it as. I shutted out all my trades today within TechBot Solutions. I was very busy just trying to catch up with all my homework. This is my last week, right? Last week of school. Yeah. So and finals is next week, right? Yeah. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to focus up as much as on. But I really want to make sure that I can assist as many of you as I can during this period. So I'm not going to be trading as much. But again, during this time, I don't want that to be a reason why you guys don't reach out to me because I want to make sure that I answer as many questions to overcome any hesitations that you guys might be encountering. But that's definitely something that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of just for this week and the week to come, because me being a full-time student, I am paying thousands of dollars to go to school. So again, for anyone that is choosing to invest in the stock market, make sure you have your priorities in set and make sure that for these upcoming weeks, especially for a lot of you guys, to not overwhelm yourself. Don't make any mistakes. If you're not truly focused, like D in our group chat said, right? And ready to trade, then don't trade, right? There's nothing wrong with watching and learning rather than investing and losing money. And that's one of the biggest things. The trades that I did today, I had a plan for each and every one of them for my trades with JNUG, and I'm actually going to jump into one more, and I'm going to start sharing my screen and talk to you guys about why I see potential. I have a series of stocks that I'm going to be following up with from our recap yesterday, as well as what I did good today, what I did bad, and a couple shout outs for different members within our group. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them until the end of the video. I'll be dedicating 5 minutes for that. So right now we have about 23 minutes left for the market open. So make sure you set your alerts while you're watching this video if you are, and have a plan. Know where you're gonna lock in your profits. If you're in the green, really look at the stock that you're trading, and pretty much what I want you guys to focus on is to make sure that the stock that you're trading doesn't show a downward trend, because although you might be in the green now, if it's showing a consistent downward trend, then you holding overnight, it's gonna be pretty much you giving back all your profit and maybe even taking some losses. And it's better to lock in 1, 2, 3, 4% profit than seeing a loss. And that's one of the worst feelings, especially when you're in the red or in the green, and then now you're in the red. So let me start sharing my screen. I'm using my TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, and I think you guys will really like it. So this is pretty much JNUG right now. I just ended up selling half of my shares here at 530. Again, I bought at the bounce at 523, and this is my second time buying in. If you go a little bit further back, I believe it's when it hit lows of 522 that I bought in at 525. Ended up selling at the resistance at 530, 5.3499. Ended up hitting highs of 536. And you might ask, why is it that I knew that it was going to peak out at this point? And why did I know that it was going to bounce at this point? Is it something that, that someone told me or anything like that? No. Pretty much what I do is, if you guys saw why I find, pre-market hours to be so important, it's because it sets nice supports and nice resistance levels. So pretty much what I mean by that is, right as the market open, there's always most likely going to be a pullback if the volume isn't really that well or isn't promoting growth. This one, if you know anything about JNUG, came from highs of about 560 to lows of about 530. So what do you expect? Well, you expect a lot of people just to start cutting the losses. So that's why you see this dump. But where is it going to bounce? And it ended up bouncing right above this 520 support. Ended up hitting highs of 540. So there's this 20 cent or 30 cent or 20 cent margin of profit that I identified. As it came back down, where was I going to buy? Well, based on this previous trend, 520 was in a sense a support. So what I waited for was it to, in a sense, identify itself as a support, and then that's when I decided to jump on in. Ended up jumping in, stayed pretty, stagnant between this 525, 530. Pretty much what my plan was to sell around 540, but then follow with a trailing stop loss as it continues to rise. And I did just that. It continued to rise every 5 cents that it went up. I put my stop loss right below it, so at 5.249. And then when it went above 530, I put my stop loss at 5.29 to lock in my profit. Again, it's all about staying in the green. And then once I ended up staying at 535, locked in my profits just because I saw that it wasn't actually because of this RSI indicator. So if you like this RSI indicator, it started getting closer to the 70, which identifies a good sell point. And if you see every time that it peaked there, it hit the 70 RSI. Every time that it hit its low point, it hit nearly that 30 RSI. Again, just use these different indicators to identify a better buy point and a better sell point. So as of now, where are we looking? Well, it's right in the middle. It hit this resistance around 530. The true RSI 70 is around 532, and we've called that out a couple minutes ago. So hopefully we can break above the 530. If not, I do have my stop loss set right above 5.255 at least to lock in my profits and to stay in the green, right? That's the whole thing. I am not trading with my $1,000 Robinhood account. I'm not too sure if you guys heard, but again, I got restricted, so I have to follow up with Robinhood, and I'm officially going to postpone, in a sense, the Robinhood challenge until the beginning of this upcoming month. And I think this is going to be a lot more organized. My account's going to be a lot more prepared. And this frustration of me going back and forth with Robinhood is just not going to be there. So I'd rather come to you guys and trade with you guys. I won't be in school. I'll be prepared with my account, and I think I'll be a lot more focused and be able to provide you guys with a lot more quality content for this challenge. So I hope you guys are okay with that. We just broke above 530. But in no way do I want you guys to stop, your own challenge and staying on track. I provided all the tools and resources for you guys. You guys go for it. You guys are going to have this cushion. So stay in the green, lock in the profits, and then I'm going to start, in a sense, May 1st to start this year off with the $1,000 challenge. So I do apologize for the inconvenience. So today I traded with my Fidelity account, and I was using $3,000 every time I traded, just like I have done before this $1,000 challenge. But let me go ahead and get into the other stocks that I was looking at. I just called out DRYS with the support at 27. It's been bouncing continuously at 27. It hasn't gone below just yet. That's the lowest point. So let's actually get a little bit closer. We're right about 18 minutes from close. It looks like it took a dip, and right now, although it barely touched and it picked right back up, if we don't see this start picking back up again in the long run, what do you see with DRYS? Well, continuously based on these pops that it's nice little pops that DRYS has seen, what's in a consistent downward trend. So it is kind of plateauing, and you kind of can see that, right? But is it going to go above and stay above 127? Is this a stock that you want to hold overnight? Most likely not. There's nothing wrong with jumping in and locking in your amount of profits. Tomorrow, if it holds above 127, then that identifies itself as a good support. So buy it as it starts showing signs of upward momentum. Right now, my RSI indicator obviously shows it at 30. but it's continuously showed it at 30 within, previous points as well. But it's continued to drop below. So I would much rather catch it while it's rising than when it's seen a downward trend. And again, that's one of the rules or one of the key components that we've talked about when trading stocks. We want to make sure we catch it on the rise. But this is definitely one that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on, and I want to be following up with you guys on. So the next one's going to be GLBS. And this is one that we talked about yesterday. This one had a huge pop during market open, hit lows of nearly almost. So if you look at the old support yesterday, it was around 240. Had a nice pop, downward trend. Caught right almost at the old support at around 249. And again, this is the whole point of day trading: identifying the support, identifying upward momentum, and setting up a plan where you're buying, where you're selling that's realistic, and executing and going for it, right? And then always knowing where you're going to cut your losses. So it had a huge pop, over $1 worth of profit margin. So although it closed there, the actual profit margin that it had is from lows of about 250 to highs of about 373. So huge amounts of profit. This is probably one of the top gainers, from top to bottom that we saw. And this is actually one that we talked about during our or Sunday stock talk yesterday. And huge shout out to the member that actually shouted this out. It's actually flatlining right now, right at that 240 support. So hopefully we can see an upward trend. But again, is this one that you want to hold overnight? Well, let's go ahead and take a look within a 5-day period. It looks like 240 has been a consistent, just support. And that's great. Right now we're around 245, 246. But I'd much rather, again, be safer, especially with this $1,000 challenge, since it has been on a downward trend and it has seen solid pops. It doesn't show upward trend. So we want to make sure, again, we catch it on the rise. So I'd much rather lock in profit and be able to manage my risk tomorrow than hope for the best overnight, right? And that's just, again, my thing. So I'm gonna put my alerts on this one, and I'm gonna make sure that I follow up with GLBS for you guys. So let me go ahead and go on to the next one. Now we're going to go into OCN, since this was one that was talked about quite often within our group today. So let me get a little bit closer within a 2-day analysis. And then this is actually one that someone asked me to perform technical analysis on. Because of this downward trend that I was seeing, I said, okay, well, it said its support around 210 to 212, right? Where's the resistance? Well, based on the previous support being around 234, if you guys can see right here, so I had a little bounce right here on 234. Supports become new resistance levels. So where is it going to struggle to go above? Well, what do you know? Look, right around 233, 234. So again, it's just to show you these trends of old supports, old new resistance levels are truly what are going to help you identify, again, better supports, better buy-ins, and better resistance levels, better sell points, right? Use these RSI indicators, as you can tell, during these points when it had huge dips, to back up and support the indication that, or the plan that you're trying to set up, and make sure that it makes sense to you. If it meets all your criteria and you have a plan, then that's when you buy, not when someone else tells you. You kind of just hope for the best. So this is definitely one to look out for. It had a nice profit margin from around 212. I actually shouted this one out from 220 to 240, so I had that 10% profit margin. So I hope a couple of you were able to jump on in, but not the full 10%. But again, with this $1,000 or $20,000 challenge, you just have to lock in 2.33% growth a day, and that be it. So if you traded this one from 220 to 235 or 234 because of this old resistance, if you're able to identify that, that's nearly your profit for the whole week that you really need, and then that gives you that good cushion. So this is definitely one that we'll follow up on as well. And then we want to talk about OPTT. Now, this is one that saw a huge upward trend during aftermarket and pre-market hours, and then just continuously saw a downward trend. This is one that a lot of you guys were chasing, and I definitely want to make sure that you guys can identify that as a bad idea. The reason why is there's no reason you should be chasing a stock. Pretty much you have to take a step back, analyze, set up a plan, see if it makes sense, and then execute. I feel like because of all this hype that was with it, a lot of you guys might have jumped in, and this is one of the things that I'm going to be talking about. This is a pullback, meaning that although it saw a huge upward trend, there's a lot of people that are going to be locking in the profit, and then within the first couple of minutes to an hour, 30 minutes usually, you're going to see a pullback, and it pulled back all the way to the previous support nearly of where it was during pre-market hours. If you see, it had a support of around 250 again from this dashed line forward. It had a support of around 250. So where is it going to bounce? Well, what do you know? As it starts coming down, it bounced nearly at that 250. So again, that's a good support, a good buy point. Where's the resistance? Well, if you can see where it, again, during this bounce, where did it struggle to go above? what struggled to go above 176. So what do you know? Look, 176. So support resistance based on previous trends. I identified that. There's nothing special with that, right? Now use your indicators to identify better buy points and better sell points. And you can do that with the RSI and then the EMA as well. Right now it's more at the overbought part. So during aftermarket hours you might see an upward trend, but again, you never know what can happen, what really makes sense based on these previous trends. And that would be the 250 support to 270 resistance, and that's your 10% already, right? That's nearly your 10%. Set up a plan for success and then execute. This is definitely one that I was looking at today, but again, just with everything that I had going on, I wasn't able to jump on in. So I hope a couple of you guys were able to jump into this one. Now the last one that I'm going to be talking about is FTR. The reason I'm talking about FTR is because it has this bounce at 187. And I don't really like trading stocks within the dollar, but the reason I like this one is because it's seen a solid bounce before around 184 to highs of about $2. And it has been on a consistent downward trend from previous bounces, but not that dramatic, right? It seems like it's holding a little bit better around this 184. It makes more sense. So what would be a good buy point? Or anything around 185 to 184, seems to be a good buy point. And then a good sell point would be nearly around that $2 resistance level. You guys can tell here, and these RSI indicators just support that, right? So it has hit lows of 187. So you can see how today plays out, but this is one that I'd say set your alerts on, and plan and then execute, right? If it makes sense to you, make sure you have a plan and have it all written out, stick to it, and then go ahead and trade. But that's really just it on the different stocks that I was looking at today. I hope it makes sense on why I see potential. If it doesn't, again, in no way do I want you guys to mimic or do I expect all of you guys to understand what it is that I'm talking about when I see identified potential. I'm more of a technical trader. There's a lot of momentum traders, and those are solely based really just on volume and on level 2, right? And that works for a lot of you guys. I've tried momentum trading and I'm not the best at it, and technical trading is something that I'm a little bit better on, and being able to analyze support and resistance and use different indicators to identify potential. It is a much slower way of making profit, but I think it makes more sense. So I hope it does for you guys too. And in no way, I want you guys to share what works for you. So in the comments or in the live chat, again, I don't have access to it right now, but share it. Why is it something that has to be so secretive, or why is it something that has to be well, if you do that, that's the wrong way of doing it. You have to do it my way. We're here to help one another out. That's one of the things that we do best with TechBit Solutions, is share best practices and share mistakes in an effort to promote growth. So I want to make sure that you guys share with one another your best practices, if it's in this live chat, if it's in a group chat on Facebook platform, so other individuals can see what works for you and see if it works for them as well. You can test it out with simulation trading, paper trading, so not real risk or no real money. And that's really just it. I really think, not giving up, being persistent, being consistent, and setting up a plan and being very realistic is really what's going to help you overcome these obstacles when it comes to, with a small account or with a large account. If you don't know how to trade and you don't know how to plan, then you're kind of just going based on luck, and that's not what's going to lead to your success. So it looks like you guys are having a solid conversation within within the live chat. So, go for it. Again, if you guys want to continue chatting, again, the link is provided for you down below. And I hope, my recap helped you guys out. And that's really just it. I'm going to be following up. I'm going to be setting some alerts. I do have Robinhood Gold, but that's currently restricted. I do have, in a sense, Fidelity that I will probably be able to still trade after market hours. So I'm going to be answering some of your questions. So let me go ahead and start doing that. It says, Ricky, do you finance your supercars or use cash? I want to know what the better investment would be. Also, assuming you want to keep the car for at least a few years. And this is by American Studios. So that's a really good question. It's a really common question I've been getting now that I've been sharing the different cars that I own. So I usually buy my cars outright. So like the GTR and all that stuff. I never finance cars. I was always told and grown up to be educated on never financing anything, right? And then when it came to I'm trying to grow a business when it comes to having a series of rental supercars. When I talked to a lender or financial advisor for that specific, in a sense, business, they told me I have no history financing cars. And although my credit score at the time was above 740, which is excellent or good, right? It's tier 1. They said the most that I would qualify for was like $40,000, and I needed like $250,000 for the type of cars plus the cash that I had to buy. So now I started financing portions of my car. So I take very small loans, like 10 or 15,000, but I've been paying them off like in a month or 2 months, which I just found out that doesn't help you out. So with the Z06, I am going to officially post it for sale today. I've had it for a month or 2 months. I'm not too sure. But again, these Z06s, these cars like over $70,000, don't really sell very quickly. So I'd much rather have in the market for people to start seeing. So eventually when someone does end up wanting to buy it off of me, they said at least keep my loan for about 6 months. Then I'll pay it off. So I expect to sell really the car in 6 months. I'm just going to post it for sale. But that's really just it. So this is by Duclos75. I have a lot of problems making my own watch list. Right now I'm getting all my plans from the group chat, but I know I really need to be really need to be self-sufficient. Do you know of any tips for me? Well, I think the biggest thing is how the watch list can be effective, and I'll follow up with a video, although I've already made a video on how to develop 3 simple steps for a good watch list, is understanding what works for you. So what type of trader? If you're a momentum trader, then you want to make sure that you use different scanners within your watch list for momentum, in a sense, gappers or high volume, right? If you're a technical trader, you might want to use a filter that helps you identify stocks that are below or at 30 RSI or below or moving above the EMA, right? So it really comes down to what is it that you want to use your watch list for. And volume is a huge indicator, and I usually put my watch list from red to green, right? And that type of chronological order. And the reason I do that is so I can identify the top losers. And like I say, I love chasing red stocks because those have the most potential for margin of profit to make up. So in doing that, it's not really coming down to what is it that I need to do to set up your watch list. Is first identify the type of trader that you are and what you're successful in with the type of momentum, technical, or whatever it is that you like to do. And then have your watch list accommodate the type of trader you are. So then go based on volume, go based on percentage change, go based on gappers or whatever it is, the indicator that you want to use as the filter to identify a better stock, right? A better stock for you. So another question is by Angel1120. Hey Ricky, how much money do invest with Fidelity? If so, how many times? Also, how many times can you invest in each stock? Well, with Fidelity, it's what I have is a cash account, and that's where I have where I moved in a sense my account. It's my largest account. It sits a little bit over $30,000. So I have a cash account. I can day trade as much as I want since my risk is only $3,000. So I can day trade, in a sense within a 5-day period, still 10 times. So that's not really my restriction. It really comes down to there is no minimum balance that you have to have, and if there is, I think it's only like $50. But again, if you have $50, I wouldn't suggest Fidelity because with those $4.95, commissions, the profit that you'd have to see is nearly 20% of profit. Because if they're $5, $5.10, yeah. So you have a smaller account, stick to Robinhood and grow your account, or start saving money and start growing your account and then transfer it to Fidelity. But if you're willing to pay for commissions, then that's definitely a great brokerage company to start out with. I have a question, and I'm new to trading. I always ask whether to buy a share at 10 cents and then drops. No, so the gaming parts ask a question: if I buy a stock for 10 cents and then drops below that 10 cents, will you become in debt? Well, no, because when it comes to trading and investing, you're only risking what you have, so you can only lose what it is that you put into the company. So let's say you put $100, you bought in for 10 cents a share, the most you can lose is $100. If you're shorting that stock and from 10 cents it goes up to $1, continues to go up, then you'll be in debt because then you'll owe more than what you've invested. So it's a little bit different. So that's a good question. So I hope that helps you out. Need volume to sell. That's by Be Creative 12. Definitely, volume is a huge indicator and a very helpful and useful indicator with whatever type of trader you are, because you definitely want to make sure that you can get in and out in stock whenever you're trading. So that's really just it, guys. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions for the criteria needs list that I'm going to be making, please feel free to reach out to me. The best way to reach out to me is within the TechBuild Solutions group chat, GroupMe platform. You can tag me But the best way is to actually DM me. And the link is provided for you down below. If you guys want to follow me, my social media account, the link is provided for you down below for my Instagram. And we just hit over 10,000 subscribers within our YouTube channel. So I can't thank you guys enough. If you guys can like this video, we'd greatly appreciate it. And if you guys like this video as well, we upload these daily as well as helpful videos every day about 5:30 Mountain Standard Time. So feel free to subscribe and, let me know what it is that you guys want me to create for you guys. Because again, this group becomes most effective and most efficient when I make content specifically for our members. And I want to make sure that you guys are, in a sense, recognized. So every time that, I've made videos for a specific individual, I try to recognize all you guys because that's, you guys are the ones that are coming up with everything. I'm just, in a sense, expressing my knowledge based on what I know to you guys, and then you guys, in a sense, grow it out into different branches and turn it into like so many different conversations. It's ridiculous. Like I just can't explain. This group is definitely something I'm so proud of, and I definitely know that you as a new investor, you as an experienced investor, joining this group will definitely benefit, not only based on the exposure, but because of the best practices that we share and how welcoming our group is to both experienced and new traders. So that's really just it. Thank you guys again. I hope you guys have an amazing week. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.